Center for Sports Medicine here in town is a go-to resource for all of your orthopedic needs. I'm sure you know that quite well. Did you know, though, that they also happen to have Monica Carney, who is here with us this morning? She is a certified athletic trainer. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
So, I think it's easy to think about the orthopedic practice being there for appointments and scheduling things like concerns about your knees or a surgical need. But you have these different satellite offices around town where people like you are there to kind of handle urgent needs that come up to save you a trip to the ER. Instead, they can come to you. Is that right?
Yes. So as an athletic trainer, I work at a local high school, but we have athletic trainers that are kind of all over North Georgia, the Cleveland area, Chattanooga area, that help just kind of take care of our athletes at those different locations, whether it's at, we have some in professional soccer, we have some at the university, and we have some in the high school settings. But we just kind of help facilitate care for our athletes there. And a lot of the time we'll run into things that are a little bit more urgent, but not emergency room urgent, like ankle sprains or maybe even an ACL tear. And having our clinic locations where we have that open walk-in that we can kind of send them to is really helpful.
Okay, so dumb me down a little bit,
Okay.
because so often when I have conversations with the surgeons who come our way, the name Center for Sports Medicine does not mean that you have to be an athlete to take advantage of the offerings there. With you, however, do you need to be an athlete, or if you're just out running the Veterans Bridge and you twist your ankle, can you still come?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think that's one of the great things about being an athletic trainer is, yes, we deal with all of our athletes, but we deal with a lot of people in our communities as well. I work at Heritage High School down in North Georgia, and there's so many times that we'll have like a teacher in the school come up to us and ask us questions, and we can help direct them there as well. So it doesn't have to be anything specifically sport related. As long as it's orthopedic related, we can get you taken care of.
Plus, we're a very active community around
Yes,
here. Okay,
absolutely.
so let's talk about some of the things that you will see that you can treat. I mentioned somebody running the Veterans Bridge. You mentioned a sprained ankle. Something like that come in to see you?
Yeah, so we can see most orthopedic injuries pretty much anytime they're at the walk-in. There's different availabilities for depending on which doctors are there during the day, but anything that's orthopedic or sport related, we can get you taken care of. I know we have in the sport world, we've got things like concussions that some of our doctors will see, and that's a good place to send them for those. Things like breaks and sprains, we can do x-rays, MRIs at certain locations. So anything we can pretty much get you taken care of.
As a lay person, I would tend to think that a break is the worst thing that you can have, but I've been told that sometimes a sprain can be even more difficult to treat.
It can be, and it's really just more complicated. There are different levels of breaks or fractures, so there are some that are more minor and some that might even require surgical attention. And then with sprains, those are the ligaments that hold the bones together, and sometimes the healing of those is a little bit more complicated. So there's nuances to everything, but there are sometimes where having a sprain is a little bit more complex and complicated and severe than just a normal fracture.
Well, you know, I mean, there are parents probably watching whose kids play sports, and that's their future at stake, and you see that, I'm sure. So getting somebody's eyeballs on your child who understands those nuances is very important.
Yes. So there's often times where we run into situations like this. Most people that we interact with are lay people, and they may not completely understand exactly what it is about the injuries and who they need to see and when they need to see them and the timelines. So that's where we come in as athletic trainers to kind of help bridge the gap and kind of direct people in the right direction, and kind of explain the urgency in those situations when they come up.
So some of it you can't help, right? An accident by its very nature is unpredictable, I guess. But a lot of times, I guess, we don't do the right thing to prevent injury. Are there some telltale tips you can give us of things to kind of avoid? Is stretching important?
Well, it really just depends on who you ask when it comes to stretching. Just to go into my nerdy athletic trainer hat, there are some people, the research says that when you stretch a muscle, you actually deform the tissues. So stretching is important for flexibility's sake, but it's not the only thing that's going to be relied upon for injury prevention. And again, that's where our athletic trainers come in. We are there and specifically trained to identify some movement deficits. We're with our athletes all the time. We can see them not only when they're at practice and on the fields and on the courts, but like in the weight room and just generally functioning in life. And sometimes we can pick up on some little deficits, and we can give them exercises to work on, things to strengthen, and maybe stretching if that's the thing. But yes, there are lots of ways to work on prevention, and that's where our athletic trainers thrive. So.
Okay, so historically over the years, you'll always come our way in early August to mention that your Saturday clinic is going to be opening up, and that will come. You can watch for them to kind of expand these services when the school year starts back. But this ability to have these walk-in clinics around the area, this is year-round now. I know the Gun Barrel location continuously has those Saturday hours, right?
Yes.
So when you're talking about, coming to see these athletic trainers, do you need to have an injury or just a difficulty?
Either, because I think, again, that kind of goes back to not really knowing sometimes. You might have a difficulty that's just more of an inconvenience and not necessarily an injury, but it might still be something urgent, and that can be taken care of at our urgent care clinic. Like I said, they take you in and they'll see all the urgent orthopedic things that could be a possibility, and they'll just kind of send you in the right path. So you might go in and you might have something that you think is more minor, but it's been nagging for a while, but you might need an MRI, and that's something where you get your foot in the door, you get in, you see whoever is at our urgent care, whichever clinic you go to, and they can set you up for the next step.
Well, then let me show you where the locations are, because they make it very, very convenient. I did mention the Gun Barrel location is for your Saturdays, 8 to 12, but then Monday through Friday, they're in Chattanooga, Cleveland, and North Georgia, pretty much day long. So you'll just have to kind of be patient, because you never know who might be in front of you, but they are there to point you in the right direction. Thank you so much.
Of course.